And breaking tonight, Fox News has just learned former Governor Andrew Cuomo is not dropping out of the mayoral race. He will appear on the ballot in November as an independent. Here now with reaction. He is the hard-hitting host of Life, Liberty, and Levin. Thank me. God bless us. How am I? I'm done. The great one, Mark Levin. How are you?
Sean, I'm doing great. First of all, I want to salute our Commander-in-Chief in the United States military. God bless them. They are the best. Now, let's get to this reprobate. Other than hating America, hating Jews, and hating capitalism, he's a pretty good candidate. You know, he's kind of a mix between Putin and Arafat. And let me be very clear about this. He's not an American-loving, moderate Muslim. He's an Islamist. That's what he is. I don't want to hear about Islamophobia. This guy's an Islamist. Islamists hate moderate Muslims. That's what he is. Now, let's look where he stands. First of all, he's 33 years old, so he's got pretty old. You know, Castro was only 29 when he took over Cuba. And here we have this guy. This guy's never run a hot dog stand, not even a kosher hot dog stand. He's never run anything except his mouth. Where does he stand? He won't endorse Israel's right to exist. Wow, that's a tough one. He defends the phrase globalize the intifada. That means he favors globalizing terrorism. When he's challenged, he says, oh, that's just what Palestinians say. No, it isn't, pal. I know who you are, and I know what you are. He goes on. He supports the boycott, divestment, sanctions, BDS movement against Israel, which means destroy Israel, withdraw all investments in Israel. So he's a Class A Jew hater in a city that has the largest population of Jews on the face of the earth. He, he wants to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he enters New York City. So he's got these fascist tendencies, too. What else? Taxation is not theft. Capitalism is theft. You know what, pal? Why don't you go into a supermarket? Look what the supermarkets provide the American people. All the types of meat, all the types of vegetables, all the types of wine, 40 different types of bread, 30 different types of milk. That's not some damn Marxist regime. That's America, where Americans have access to more food, more goods, more material than kings and queens had 100 years ago. That's capitalism, pal, and we like it. What else? The Green New Deal, socialism. He wants a $10 billion tax hike on businesses. Now, what happens if you do that? What do? They go to New Jersey, they go to Connecticut, they go to a free state, maybe Florida. In other words, he will kill jobs. He will kill jobs. The guy doesn't know how to create jobs. He's never held a job. The hell has he ever done in his life? It amazes me, these 33-year-old Marxist Islamists, they know how to run the world. They don't know how to run anything. They don't even know how to fix a toilet or to change their oil. What does he want? Free buses, rent freezes, city-run grocery stores. You know what that means? You're going to starve to death because the city doesn't know how to run a grocery store. They can't run a damn thing. He wants a $30 minimum wage. Why not? He doesn't know. I better watch my mouth. Free city buses he wants. What else does he want? Universal everything. Free child care for children under 6. Oh, that's cool. Who's going to handle that, by the way? Oh, we don't know. What else? Advocates for city-run grocery stores with wholesale prices. Yeah, they'll go broke in 2 minutes. He wants to abolish ICE. Well, first of all, he's so stupid he doesn't understand. The federal government runs ICE. See, there's a federal government, a state, and a local government. What else? He says ICE is fascist. He opposes, look, New York, do you really want this a-hole as your mayor? I'm just being perfectly honest with you. Do you want to destroy your city? Now, here's the problem. If the rational human beings in New York don't come out and vote, he's going to be your mayor, and he's going to destroy your city, and it'll never be the same again. So what will people do? This city will be depopulated. That is, people who love America, people who pay their taxes, people who believe in law and order, they're going to leave. And people who are reprobates and violent and Islamists, not Muslims, Islamists, they will populate the city. And that's what's going to happen to the greatest city on the face of the earth. This is what this guy's going to do. Now, I would ask New Yorkers, other than what I've just told you, who is he? Do you know anything about him? Of course not. Now, I watched Psaki on MSNBC, who lied through her teeth on behalf of Joe Biden. So apparently their defense is anybody who criticizes, an Islamist, Marxist, Jew-hating, American-hating capitalist, that must be Islamophobia. You know what, Psaki? You're the Islamophobe. You're stereotyping. This guy is not your moderate Muslim who supports Muslims. He's an Islamist Marxist. That's what he is. That's why Bernie Sanders, another Marxist. That's why Bernie Sanders is out there, billionaires and oligarchs. Shut up, Bernie. That's why AOC is there campaigning for him. AOC wants to be president of the United States. But here's what really gets me, Sean. Chuck
Mark,
Schumer,
let me ask you one last
Jewish.
question.
Yes.
So you've got our friend Curtis Sliwa in the race, and you got Eric Adams. You got another leftist in the race. Now Andrew Cuomo's gotten in the race. Does that split the vote and pave the way for?
Yes.
Well, for Curtis Sliwa is the only one that would be. He'd be like Rudy Giuliani, Mayor Rudy Giuliani 2.0. Is that? I only have about 20 seconds.
All right, it'll only take me 10. Cuomo should get out. He's a reprobate. He already blew it. Adams is a poor mayor. Curtis Sliwa would be a great mayor. They all need to get around one candidate, support one candidate, and defeat this guy, or this guy's going to destroy the city. It's that simple. I'm done. That's it. Let's go.
All right. That's a great one. Mark Levin, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.